Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Diana Alba, and in September I was actually appointed to be the Clark County Clerk when Shirley Paragary, who had been the clerk for 11 years, passed away. She passed away August 30th. I was appointed to fill the unexpired term on September 15th. So I'm actually in the position right now, but more than that, I've been with the office for 24 years. I've been assistant director for 9, which as assistant director, I really had charge of the day-to-day operations of the office. So I have a thorough understanding of all the workings of the office. I started out at an entry-level position, worked my way up, so I understand all the ins and outs. I also have a solid understanding of the laws and the county ordinances and the rules and regulations that govern the county clerk. So I feel like that's what makes me a qualified candidate. I think it's very important for any group, and I've met with a number of groups during this process, that they just know that it's important that we have someone in this office who knows what they're doing. Somebody who has a reputation for being honest and hardworking and operating within the bounds of the law, and also who can be trusted to run the office the way that it was intended to be run and how it was set up. I've been in the community for a long time. I've lived here over 25 years. I raised 4 children here. They all grew up and went through school here. They're great, solid citizens. I'm very proud of them. I met my husband when I moved here, and we married a year later. He's part of a very long-term Las Vegas family. His grandparents came here in the 20s. So I'm very vested in the community. We have a lot of extended family here. We own our home here. It's almost free and clear. Next year it's hopefully be paid for. So we have a vested interest in our community and making it work well. I am not a veteran. That probably isn't a surprise, but I do come from a family of veterans. My brother was a veteran of the Army who served in the Army for 3 years, and my father was a veteran of World War II. And had passed away a few years ago. If he was alive, he would be 86. He served in the Army Air Corps out of the 8th Air Force out of England, flew 13 missions when his plane was shot down, and he was taken prisoner of war for 10 months, was liberated by the Russian allies, and all of his life, he was never disabled. He worked very hard, a very hard worker, but he bore the scars of that conflict all of his life, and so I had a visual every day of the sacrifices that people make. So I come from a very patriotic family. And again, my name is Diana Alba, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you for 15 minutes today.
Dave Austin, how would you improve the office as it is today?
There are a couple of things I would like to do, and one project has actually been in the works since last summer. One of the things that we do is we're the official record keeper for the county. We are sometimes confused with the recorder, where your own vital records are, your marriage records are the recorder. But one thing the county clerk does is we keep the official copy of all the county ordinances, all the county contracts, the county budgets. We keep the county commission agendas and other county boards, like the Board of Equalization, which came up a lot in the last session. We keep their records. We have records dating back to 1909, and the situation we have is they're in a variety of different media. Some are on microfilm. We have 2 different kinds of digitized images. We have some that are still just hard copy. And what we really need to do is take that library of records and get them converted to a consistent digital format that's searchable. It'll make them much easier to search and retrieve, and also take less storage space. But it's a big project. But that is one thing I would really like to see through and get done, because I think it's important. They're important records, and they need to be archived properly. So.
Is that something that you can?
State your name.
Wayne Klesmer. Is this something that, budget-wise, is this something that's feasible, or is this something that would take excessive amount of budget to get this taken care of?
Very good question. It does take money. You know, you talk about, one of the most expensive things the county has is floor space. And so you always talk about putting records on computers and on image because it takes less floor space. But you also need to purchase computer memory for that, and that costs money. We actually have, existing right now, enough memory to store a lot of the records, although we would need to improve that. We have partnered with the election department last year, and we hope to do it again this coming year. When they're in an off year and there's not an election, they actually offer to do scanning of records for other departments, and they've done this for the court and for the district attorney's office. So this last summer, they scanned over 200 boxes of county purchasing documents that we only had hard copies of. And they did all the scanning, and then we did the editing, and then we will do the indexing. And by partnering with that existing agency, we actually got a quote to have an outside vendor do it. It was going to be about $35,000. So that saved us a lot. And if we can continue that kind of a relationship, that is helpful. We've also done a few things to make some things in the office a little bit more efficient, which has freed up one staff member to just work on archival. Now, just having one person work on it is kind of slow going, but I think, you know, combining those kinds of things and just using resources, it'll take a few years, but we can get through it. One thing as far as purchasing the memory, one thing that we do is we file notary bonds for notary publics, and the fee is $25. $5 of that goes to a technology fund for the county clerk. It's not a lot of money. It ends up being about $20,000 a year, but we have about $50,000 in it because we've been letting it build up, and we're actually saving some of that money to when we run out of memory and digital storage space, to use some of that towards buying some more space. So, you know, we can't use it to purchase man hours, but I think we can. You know, slow and steady, I think we can get it done in a few years. So.
Juan Rivera, if allocated funds to the department while you're there, what key area will you promote for the public?
What key area? Well, in addition to what I've said, you know, one thing that the clerk's office does, we also issue all the marriage licenses in the county, which is kind of a fun thing because we issued 92,000 last year, and about 90% of those are from people outside the state. It's a huge part of our tourist industry. So we literally see the world go by our door every day. Our instructions at the Marriage Bureau, we have them written out in 9 different languages. So it's just, and that doesn't even begin to cover it, but it is kind of fun. I would like to raise the profile of that office just a little bit because it is a big part of the economy. Las Vegas isn't a place where people run away to get married as much anymore. When they come, they bring their family, and they, you know, there are destination weddings where people book rooms and buy flowers and you have pictures taken and rent banquet halls, and so it really is a good revenue generator. And I'd like to see us do a little bit more to promote that because our Marriage Bureau numbers have gone down the last few years. I just think as tourism has gone down, and I think people are concerned about traveling. After September 11th, they aren't as likely to get on a plane and fly across the ocean or across the country. I think maybe we could partner with the Convention and Visitors Authority to promote that just a little bit more so that people know that coming to Las Vegas to get married is a really good thing. One thing that a lot of people don't know, too, about the office, if I just might add, and that is a marriage license, the fee is $60. $25 of every marriage license fee goes to fund state programs for domestic violence. So Clark County generated over $3 million last year, and just specifically for those programs. And the next largest county to us is Washoe, issued just 10,000 licenses. So you can kind of see where the funding for state domestic violence programs come from. It comes from here, but it benefits the whole state. And I just think that's a good thing for people to know, that that's a good thing, that money, it doesn't all just go to the county general fund. Some of it goes to those specific programs. So if we can get more people to come and buy marriage licenses, we'll have more revenue.
Dr. Richard Hawkins, how has the closing or reduced hours of the marriage license office affected this? Would it be worth opening it again 24 hours, or did the volume not drop from that?
I don't think it. We're still open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. till midnight to get marriage licenses. A couple of years ago, you're right, in 2006, we had a graveyard shift on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were open around the clock starting Friday night. We did issue licenses in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning, but not very many, not even enough to cover the cost of staff. And we've just found that people have generally adjusted to it. Now, I don't want to reduce hours anymore, to tell you the truth. I've talked to people in the wedding industry. Those hours are set by the legislature. The door was opened in a special session where we could reduce them if we wanted to, and I can see Washoe County is going to reduce their hours. We did 92,000 licenses last year. That's a lot of licenses. We still remain pretty busy, that 8 a.m. till midnight. We almost always process a couple of licenses right after midnight, so I don't want to reduce the hours anymore. But I'm not really too inclined to go back to that graveyard shift just because it would require more staffing, and it's more expensive. There's shift differential. I have to have extra security. Actually, that graveyard shift was pretty, had some complexities to it that made it not really worthwhile.